Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Melbourne Demons team preview, where we're going to be keeping our eye on the red and the blue. And yeah, they finished 14th last year. And yeah, they've lost two of their best midfielders in Petrarca and Oliver. They've got a couple of, backmen missing. So I'm not sure if they're going to do too well this year, I think. Sorry, Dad. All right, but as always, we're going to start off with the Loch Open League. Join in 506-532 and join the Podmasters vs Public League, where you can take on myself and other content creators. There'll be weekly prizes, and the winner gets a Supercoach ring. 937841. All right, let's get into the fixture. All right, so Melbourne, they don't play in opening round. So that's handy. But they don't have another bye until the last bye round of the mid-season byes in round 16. So majority of the teams will have had, either their one or their two byes before Melbourne even have a bye. So yeah, that makes sense. All right, so yeah, they've got a nice little run here. Essendon, Richmond, West Coast staggered in between here, and what have they got after the mid-season bye? Yeah, Richmond and North Melbourne in a row. How do teams manage to do this? All right, so yeah, I expect Melbourne to be. I'm predicting bottom four, unfortunately for the D's. Again, sorry, Dad. All right, so let's have a look at some of the players. All right, starting off with the defenders. First off, we've got Jake Bowie, who's priced at 502. Average of 92.4 from 23 games. He probably wasn't one I was going to pick, but he's injured, so he's going to be out for the first half of the season, I think. So that's an easy pass. But he was taking kick-ins, running the ball out of defence. So who's going to replace him? Will it be Christian Salem? Well, maybe not, because he's under an injury cloud as well. 494.1, 91.3 from 23 games. If he's still injured, he's going to be a pass. But if he gets back into the practice games, if I see something from him, it could be one that we can consider. Maybe probably more leaning on the side of pass, but I'm not going to completely rule him out. So one to consider. All right, Stephen May, another guy who's taken kickouts in the past. 466.7. 86.3 average from 16 games last year. Don't know what's going on with him. If anyone can let me know, tell me in the comments. And yeah, he's apparently not at the club at the moment. So yeah, not sure when he's going to be back, or not even sure what's really going on there. So if he's not at the club, well, it's going to be an easy pass. You can't start him. All right, next we've got Trent Rivers, 446.1k. Average of 82.4 from 23 games. So, yeah, is he one that could run into the midfield? Replace the Christian Petrarca and the Clayton Olivers. And also, actually, Jack Viney, I believe, is injured as well. I think he's injured his Achilles. All right, so he could be out for a little while. So, yeah, who's going to be in their midfield? Well, we're going to have to see in the practice games. He's one I'll be watching, and one to consider. Or actually, I should write watch pre-season. All right. Next, we've got CJ. 358.4k, average of 66.2 from 17 games. He's come across from the Hawks. I think there might be, could be some better options down the back line. But, I'm going to watch it in the pre-season. All right, I think we're going to do the same with Christian Salem as well. Let's just watch it in the pre-season, see where they play, because I actually have no idea how Melbourne are going to line up. So, yeah, there's that. Okay, next we've got Caleb Windsor, 283.3k, 52 average from 17 games last year. He's another one. Could he be in the midfield, or could he be running off half-back, placing Jake Bowie? We're not quite sure, but yeah, a lot of these guys, we're going to be watching the pre-season. All right. Next, we've got Andy Moniz-Wakefield at 145.2k. Didn't play at all last year because he was injured. Not actually quite sure if he's going to be ready for round one. I don't think he is, so he's going to be a pass. But maybe he could be a downgrade option future in later on in the season. All right, and then he can make us some money, and we can call him Andy Money Wakefield. All right, so yeah, pass for now, but could be a downgrade option. And then you got Xavier Taylor, 158.5k. Obviously didn't play last year because he was just drafted this year. Could he get a game? Could he get in the best 23? He's definitely one we're going to be watching the pre-season. And consider if he does well. All right. Next, we've got the midfielders. All right, so Jack Steele, the former captain of the St Kilda, is basically kicked out of St Kilda. 510k. A 94.2 average from 21 games. He's probably going to be their number one midfielder. All right, so could he be the one that Max Gawn tries to tap down to? All right, but he's one we're going to watch in the preseason. All right, and maybe one we can consider. All right, so is he? He always seems to have a little bit of niggly injuries. He'll have patches where he's really good and looks really good, scores really well, and then we bring him in our teams and he burns us. Well, that's happened to me anyway. All right, so we'll keep an eye out on Steele. Jack Viney at 471.4k, 87.1 average from 18 games. I think he's injured his Achilles, so that's going to be a pass. Like, it's more of a question of who's going to come in for him. One of those guys could be Harvey Langford in his second year. 384.7k, 71.1 from 22 games. That's nothing to sneeze at in your first year. He's one that's I've had in my side a couple of times. He's not in there at the moment, but he's definitely one we could consider. All right, so watch in the preseason, see where he's playing. All right, if he's playing in the inside midfield, bulk CBAs, he's definitely one we can look at. All right, next we've got Jai Cully, who was another one I was looking at. 291.1k, 67.3 average from 4 games. He's injured as well. So not sure if he's going to be ready for round 1. So he's going to be a pass. Xavier Lindsay, another second-year player. 273.9k. 50.6. 18 games. I'm not sure if he's like more of an inside. I think he's more of like a half-back sort of winger type. But could he go in that midfield? I'm not sure. Another one, we're going to be watching the preseason. All right, got practice games coming up very soon, so we'll get a good look. And we've got Riley Onley, 99.1k, just drafted as a rookie this year. Actually, not really sure if he's going to play. I only wanted to get him in here because he is only 9.1k. All right, yes, I did put him in there just so I could make that joke. All right, it wasn't a very good one. So let's move on. All right, onto the rucks. Now, Max Gawn. So there's a lot of talk about the ruck rules, how it's going to affect, guys like Gawn, who are priced at 689k. Average of 127.4 from all 23 games. Now, question is, how are these ruck rules going to affect these big boys? Because 127, geez, that's going to be a hard average to maintain, and we don't really know how these are going to affect. These new rules are going to affect the ruckman. So we're going to watch round 0 and see how much of an effect these ruck rules have on the scoring. And I'll probably decide after that. But if he averages, if he drops to say a 115 or so average, well, then he becomes below 600k. So that's, well, let's just go 90k lost. All right. So I'm not quite sure if we're going to start him. We are going to watch pre-season. Seems like I'm saying this for everyone from Melbourne. All right. So one that's we're going to watch closely. Not maybe Max Gawn in the pre-season games, but all the ruckmen in round 0. All right. So definitely one to watch. Max Heath, I've come from St Kilda. He's eligible as a forward as well. 197k, 445 45.5 average from 4 games. Could he come in, play as a forward, ruck type, give Max Gawn a chop out? I would say probably not. So it's probably going to be a pass. Tom Campbell, I didn't even realise he was still on the list, but he is there for insurance for Max Gawn, I'm pretty sure. 119.9k, rookie priced, didn't play at all last year. I would only consider, if Max Gawn got injured. Yeah, but for now it's a pass. And we've got son of Jeff, White, who's also available as a forward. Actually, what's his first name again? I actually forgot. Yes, Kalani White. How could I forget that? No, I didn't just look that up. He's available as a forward as well. Bargain basement price at 99.1k. Obviously didn't play last year, but he's the guy that you should have as your loophole in your ruck line if you're going to have him. I don't have him in my side at the moment, but I plan on getting hoping that there's a rookie price ruck playing, and then downgrade him to Kalani White. Alright, that's my plans just for now. Alright, next, on to the forwards. Alright, so we've got Cozzy Pickett here, who's also available as a midfielder. Does he get more bulk CBAs? Not quite sure. 494.9k, 91.5 from 20 games. Does have a bit of a habit of getting suspended. But we'll watch him in the preseason, and definitely one to consider. Well, watch preseason, same thing, pretty much. Alright, so, we can definitely consider. Aiden Johnson, 162.8k. There's no discount there. That was just what he averaged last year from his 37.6 games from 5 games. Now, I only put him in here because I was an owner last year. I liked that he was playing forward, but also the second ruck. Then he got himself suspended. Didn't score very well at all. I thought he looked like a Max Gawn mini-me. He was a very disappointing pick for me last year, and I never want to see him in my side again. All right, and that's not going to happen. All right, so that's an easy pass. Latrell Pickett, 154k. He was just drafted last year. I think he was drafted to keep Cozzy happy, I reckon. All right, so here's one. We'll watch the preseason. Or, if he's any good, we definitely consider. All right, so keep an eye out on that. And then we've got Matthew Jefferson, 128.7k. Another Melbourne forward who only averaged 26.4 from 7 games. So, no discounts or anything there. That was just what he averaged. All right, so, that's going to be an easy pass. All right, so, that is it for the Melbourne preview. Let me know what you think, if you agree, disagree. Anything else to add at all? Is there any players I missed? I covered quite a few players in this one. All right, so, not really sure what's going to happen with the Ds, other than, they're probably going to be towards the bottom of the end of the ladder. Once again, sorry, Dad, you mad Melbourne supporter. All right, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.